We are ready to send you into the weekend right. The professor is here. E.J. Smith, we're going to talk about the Eagles who changed our opinion of them the most in 2025. And we'll hear from Fran Duffy with thoughts on Declan Doyle and the players at the Shrine game you need to know. Stay with us. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles podcast on a Friday afternoon. We are live from the Xfinity studio, and we're presented by Bet365 and Ashley. We are Bo Wulf, E.J. Smith, and the professor, Deniz Selman. Guys, how you doing?
I'm doing well. We are Bo Wulf.
Yeah. We are Bo Wulf, E.J. Smith, and Deniz Selman.
Okay.
Maybe I should have sat between you guys.
No.
We tried to. We talked about where everyone's sitting.
We are here. We are live from this place. We are presented by these people. And who are we? We are me, you, and you.
I am Bo Wulf, joined by Deniz and
No, that's
that's usually what you say. I'm here every day.
well, I understand, but the sentence also works this way. It's the beginning of a series.
It just threw me.
Who
for
are
the loop.
we?
It just threw me for the loop. I apologize. How are you doing, Deniz?
I'm doing well. We just learned already that there's no school Monday.
Oh, man.
So Penn has not announced anything. So I don't know if I have class yet, but everyone doesn't. So
Yeah, the TAs will do the work anyway.
yeah, I mean, of course, yeah. My fear right now, my number one fear is that like the power is going to go out Sunday and we can't watch the games. I mean,
That is.
I know that's like a privileged life if that's your number one fear,
Sure.
but like that's
Yeah.
I am concerned.
I mean, how often does like
that could actually happen.
the famous last words here? Maybe I'm not.
Yeah.
But how often does the power in Philadelphia go out?
That's a good question. It's an insane amount of
Does it actually not go out that
snow
much?
all at once. It could also be like the cable wires
Yeah.
get messed up.
Or
It doesn't
freezing
have to
rain
be
and
the.
wind?
Wait, are you
As long as the
still-
power doesn't go out, I can stream it too. So
Right.
yeah. We do still have cable. Yeah, I don't know why.
Okay.
Inertia more than.
How are you feeling? You've already had this bachelordom week.
Squalor.
Will Julia be back before the snow?
No, she's supposed to get back Sunday night, which means she probably won't get back till
So
Monday.
what are you gonna do with? Have you done grocery shopping for yourself?
Yeah, I went grocery shopping
Okay.
last night. Yeah, on my way home.
Was there anything left in the store?
Yeah, it was cleaned out
I
a
went
little
yesterday
bit
morning.
more.
It was totally fine.
Totally
Oh,
normal,
mine
right?
wasn't.
Yeah.
Mine
I'm
was
going
cleaned
after
out,
the
really,
show,
yeah.
so I don't know if I'm too late.
I gotta make sure I got enough food for the dogs. That's the only thing.
I don't really understand the food. Like, you don't. I understand worrying about the power.
Yeah.
You don't have enough food to make it through. I mean, what's
It depends
what's
on
the
what-
realistic worst case scenario? 48 hours, you can't go anywhere.
It depends on what food you're willing
Yeah.
to settle for. You know what I mean? If it's like Sirianni's coaches meeting and you're eating the leftover Cheez-Its, like yeah, okay, you can survive, but
Yeah,
you'd
but I don't know.
like to be able to make some nice food. At home.
Sure.
I got a couple of. It's funny. Like I cook all the time. There's just something about like the bachelor weekend where I don't want to cook.
Totally agree. Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
got some like good like stick it in the oven for 20 minutes
Okay.
and it's ready.
You feel like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. You're
I hadn't seen that movie until 2 years ago.
really?
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
yeah, it just never made it in the
Interesting.
rotation. Yeah.
Okay.
This is another one where when you tell us like you weren't born when it came out or something, I'm going to be surprised, right? Is that right? For
That is right. Yeah.
I mean,
you-
I wasn't
yeah,
born when it
it's
came
ahead of
out.
your
That's
time.
probably
Wow.
not why I didn't see it.
Okay,
It
okay.
just- yeah, that took me a little while.
We have with our
I don't know.
a good friend of Evren's and his parents. They invite us over on Friday nights for movie night, and we need like an 8-year-old appropriate movie once a week that the parents will also enjoy. And so this has been like a dilemma. Like
Yeah.
is this too scary? Is
Yeah.
this a little bit too whatever? So any suggestions in
You
the
doing
chat
once a
would be
week?
welcome. We pretty much go every
I
week.
like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so it's
what have been the big hits so far?
well, like I mean, we've done like tonight we're gonna do Back to the Future. Like
Oh,
that's
that's a
one
good one.
where
I
it's
thought
like
about
it's
that.
like fun
Yeah.
enough for the
Yeah.
adults, like
Yeah.
without
That sounds
being
scary, though.
We've done some like Japanese anime stuff, which has been good.
What's like?
But then sometimes it's like Muppets Halloween special or whatever, and it's like, I'm not a big fan
Have
of
we
like
done
the newer
School of
Muppet
Rock
stuff.
School of Rock.
Oh, we have not.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Jack Black.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
I like that one. Yeah.
That's good. We haven't done Princess Bride with them, but that's one that we've done. So yeah, yeah. Just I always try to push for like a little bit less, animated, a little bit more like Back to the Future style. But we'll see.
You like the sort of Oedipus undertone there to Back to the Future. You like those are the
that's not
you like.
the that's actually the main concern about Back to the Future is the Oedipus thing. There are other movies that have it's like anything from the 80s just has this like problematic casual casual racism, casual sexism, whatever that like we kind of have to explain like, okay, you should never say that, whatever.
Ooh, what about The Sandlot? That's
Sandlot's a good
Eleven Wallace in the chat.
I haven't seen The Sandlot.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Sandlot's a good one. Oh,
would Deniz like The Sandlot? I feel like you would.
I think you would. Yeah.
Okay.
The Sandlot.
Yeah.
That was a movie I watched a lot as a kid.
We've done that
constantly. So.
All
right. Let's get to it. We've got a lot to talk about on the show today, despite 6 minutes of nonsense there to start the show.
It's a Friday.
It's a Friday. We've got updates on the Eagles' offensive coordinator search. We're going to talk a little bit more about Declan Doyle. Double D. We're going to talk to Fran Duffy, who's live in Dallas, where he's at the Shrine game. Watched the first day of practices today. He's got some thoughts on Declan Doyle and some of the other Eagles topics we're going to discuss. But let's do that first in the big takeaway presented by Xfinity. And EJ, you and I started this exercise at the end of yesterday's show, talking about the players we think who changed our opinion of them the most from the beginning of the 2025 season to the end of it. And as you would expect from a team that had a relatively disappointing season. I mean, they made the playoffs. That's and they won the division. But I went through this exercise. There were 14 guys I have here on my list.
Okay.
Including the 2 we did yesterday.
Yeah.
4 of them were changed our opinion for the good. 10 of them were changed our opinion for the bad, which is probably about what you would expect.
Yeah.
We talked yesterday about Jalyx Hunt for the good, Cam Jurgens for the bad. Why don't we let you go first with the next person that you would like to discuss?
I want you to go first again because maybe I want to see how you play it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Then I'm going to give you another one of the goods just to get them off the board.
Okay.
And this is a player who I think we have discussed quite a bit as having been the most pleasant surprise of the season to some degree, and that is Jordan Davis.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. When the Eagles picked up his 5th-year option, we weren't sure if that was the right decision. He had not really earned that level of pay given his level of play over the first 3 years of his career. But this year he was just awesome. He was the one-man wrecking crew as a run defender that they expected him to be when he was drafted. He added just enough as a pass rusher, and he stayed on the field. So yeah,
not in third and pass situations.
No, but he played more.
Yes, and I think that was like. I think maybe 2 years ago, the question was, right, is Jordan Davis going to become a guy who plays maybe 3 years ago, right? Is he going to be a guy who's on the field on 3rd and long?
Mm-hmm.
And he's a first-round pick. They expected him to be on the field on 3rd and long when they drafted him, and that was the bar.
Yeah.
And I think it's good that we've been able to adjust our expectations and say that he had a good year, even though he wasn't that, right? We were talking about how he was getting tired and getting leaving the field on early downs as well last year, and that didn't happen this last year. So
I will go Jordan Davis. I'll take the low hanging fruit there.
So
pretty tall hanging fruit actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I am torn now between going chalk or kind of like honoring the spirit of the A block, like the most interesting discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm not going to qualify it. We'll just unpack it. Everyone, just stick with us.
Nobody can be normal about this. It's like,
well, I'm the king of qualifying things on this show.
Is it Moro Ojomo or is it Cam Latu? That's
not no, those would have been chalk for me. I think that Jalen Hurts is a part of this discussion.
Absolutely.
In terms of a perception change. Now, I wouldn't say that my perception of Jalen Hurts has swung significantly in the last 12 months. I think it's changed a good amount in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
I think that the new information over the last year I mean, it's funny. Like,
Well, more specifically, like the last 11 months.
Well, sure, exactly, yeah. Because I was gonna say every single day,
Yeah.
I'll do something in my office in the morning, and I walk past an article that I wrote 11 months ago about how the Eagles have the quarterback. Jalen Hurts has silenced the doubters once and for all.
Yeah.
He has proven that he is a quarterback you can win a Super Bowl with, and that he is the franchise quarterback the Eagles have been looking for. Like, he's solidified that.
Is your house fully decorated with your articles?
No, of course not. Of course not.
That's the wallpaper.
It's just my articles.
Yeah.
No, it is funny though. Now that you asked me about this, it's a good time to bring this up. My dad, like in the basement, he's got like all of like their uniforms, and like I've got a poster when I played high school football.
Yeah.
And then there's just one of my articles up on the wall. It's like this guy. Like, I didn't play sports in college, but I wrote some pretty good stories.
Yeah.
Like,
Which one is it? Which article?
It is an article about how Temple's sports department shifted with the athletic cuts and how they entered the arms race of college sports.
Okay.
Which has not aged particularly well. Well, they entered the arms race; it just hasn't gone great for them.
So he's not as much of a fan of your recent work.
No, if I gave him an article, he'd hang up. But yeah, it is staggering to think about how much things have changed in the last 11 months. And again, I want to say that, like, my opinion on Jalen Hurts, I wouldn't say that my confidence in him being a franchise quarterback has wavered all that much. I think at the bottom line with anything we discuss about Jalen Hurts, I usually try to end it with, you can win a Super Bowl with him. And that is a tough question to answer with quarterbacks, especially highly paid quarterbacks. I would say the conversation around Jalen in the building, and really even in the public eye, but especially like the scrutiny internally that Jalen Hurts has received in the last 11 months, I think it has been a humongous perception change.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think the two most tangible things that have changed about our collective opinion about Jalen Hurts, one is what is going on with him not wanting to run. Yeah. Is that an offense thing, or is that a Jalen thing? And it's a question we don't know the answer to right now. And so that's a mystery. And obviously, if he's not going to do that, that changes your opinion of him as a player. And then the other one is just, I think this was probably overstated to begin with, but the idea that, oh, well, if it's the big game, you know that Jalen's going to have his best. And like, he had kind of a dud in the playoffs. Like, I think that's okay to say. You know what? It wasn't the Super Bowl. Maybe if they got all the way to the big game, then he would have had his best. But
and he wasn't good in the early rounds of the playoffs last year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that narrative was probably a little bit overstated to begin with, but we can lay it to rest a little bit. I totally agree. I think the Eagles should still feel good that they have a Super Bowl caliber quarterback.
Yeah, they should.
But there's no doubt that their internal opinion and ours has changed a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think, Professor?
About Jalen?
Yes. Has your opinion of him changed?
I don't think it's changed enough to put high on this list. Like, if I looking through,
if you're multiplying by how important the player is,
of course, yeah, no, it obviously is very important. I think one of the issues, in fact, going from last year to this year, it wasn't that Jalen's play necessarily got worse. It's that it became more important how good it was.
True.
Like the fact that the run game wasn't just humming, and the offensive line wasn't, as good, in particular in the run game. And to some degree, like the play calling and play sequencing wasn't as good either, right? Mm-hmm. You needed the quarterback to elevate like all of those things, like the horrendous play sequencing and calling, the bad situations that the team was being put in, more third and longs, like all those things made it such that you needed more of those moments of Josh Allen-esque hero ball from the quarterback, and he maybe like isn't that guy, right? Like, and we've never really thought he was, but like, which is why my perception hasn't changed that.
Yeah, I think I understand that.
Yeah, I think I think the season kind of like shined a light on his weaknesses more so than those weaknesses like grew or anything like that. So that's kind of and which is why, like, when we talk about OC candidates later in the show, like, that's one of the things that I think is going to be very important, is that I don't think, and I know you guys were saying this a little bit earlier this week, and others have said it as well, the reason that I want to aim for upside with the OC search is that competence is just going to continue to make it so that like the quarterback has to elevate and like the roster has to elevate, and I'm not sure that those are there anymore.
The last thing I want to say about it is, acknowledging some of the internal scrutiny that Jalen Hurts has faced in the last few months. in particular. Like, I also want to make it clear, like, I wrote a story about how Jalen has been perceived as more open, more accessible to his teammates. And like, because I get this question sometimes from people, like,
how can both things be true?
How can both things be true? Exactly. And what I would say to that is, you can go in my story about Jalen being more open and more available and read exactly who I talk to. Okay. So like, it is clear that there are people in the locker room and in that building that think that Jalen has taken strides in specific areas that I wrote about. I think it's also fair, and I think, like, when you read about the internal frustration that exists in the building, it's obviously apparent. It's there. It's not the people I talk to, is what I would say.
Well, and also, I mean, listen, it is your job. It is our job as reporters or people trying to figure out things in the building to reach out to people.
Yeah.
But the selection bias of that, Professor, is that the people you are going to hear from are going to be likely people who have something to complain about or something.
Right? Exactly.
It's not going to be worth reporting if you say I talked to 10 people and they said, yeah, Jalen's fine.
Right.
So,
but it just, to me, like, bringing both of these things up paints the picture that is, I think, the most accurate, which is that there are people in that building that think that Jalen has done a great job in the last 11 months. And again, has been more open, more accessible, better, more trusting with his teammates. And then there are people who are frustrated with the way that the offense looks, and they will point the finger at him for that.
To the degree that there are people in the building who are curious about what it would look like with somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As we're going through this kind of, as a fan base, somewhat like unpleasant process of getting rejected by OC candidates, like and like, looking at the mirror and being like, what don't they like about me, right? Like
your body flaws,
one of the things that people bring up is that the quarterback is not appealing to coach, right? And that Mike McDaniel chose Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts, that kind of thing. The one thing I'll say about that as a Jalen Hurts defender, first of all, it's not clear that Mike McDaniel has chosen Justin Herbert, apparently.
He chose him over Hurts.
Yes. Is ask Shane Steichen and Kellen Moore about Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts. Right? They both coached Justin Herbert and literally got fired after coaching him. And then they both coached Jalen Hurts to the Super Bowl, and their very next year they were head coaches. So this idea that, like, of course anyone would like, we literally have two examples of current NFL head coaches who got there after being fired coaching Herbert and then promoted after coaching Jalen Hurts. So let's not be like quick to jump to that conclusion that that's where you want to be. So that's all. That's the one thing I'll say about that.
All right, let's close the book on the big takeaway presented by Xfinity and send you to our first break here. On the other side, we're going to bring our friend Fran Duffy to the show, find out if there's anybody on his list here of players who have changed his opinion the most, find out what he thinks of young Declan Doyle, and also what we need to know about the happenings at the Shrine Game. Well, it used to never be ordinary at Bet365 until I messed up this ad read for the very first time ever. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it again. Because Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide and live stream over 780,000 events each year with early payout offers across the NBA and NHL. And they've got a great early payout offer in the football bets you make, where if your team goes up by 17 points or more, you get paid out whether they win or blow the lead. Doesn't matter. Maybe your heart hurts if the Eagles blow a 21-point lead to the Cowboys. Your wallet, not so much. Breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses when you bet $5. Sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. At Bet365, must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I know it's cold outside. Maybe you're looking ahead to the summer, and it's really going to be an all-time sports summer here in Philadelphia. The World Cup is here. Maybe you want to go see Brazil in the group stages at the Link, maybe Morocco. But actually getting tickets to those games, that part can be pretty brutal. That's why the Game Time app is such a lifesaver. It gives the advantage back to fans with tickets to all the matchups that you care about. You can track price drops in real time, get alerts when seats open up, and grab tickets the moment they hit the app. And it's all backed by the Game Time guarantee. I promised my nephew I would take him to a Sixers game. It was his Christmas gift, and I can assure you that Game Time is the best place to go for those last-minute steals. They even send you alerts so you can snag new tickets first by following your favorite teams. Take the guesswork out of buying soccer tickets with Game Time this summer. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
Welcome back to the PHLY Eagles podcast on a Friday, live from the Xfinity studio. We are Bo, EJ, and the professor, and now we become the three of us and Fran Duffy. Fran, good to see. We miss you, man.
I'd say it's good to see Fran's face.
Doesn't it make your heart feel good to see that, man?
He's so happy too. He's watching,
and he's got the high quality,
overwhelmed with guys right now.
The high quality camera work travels.
It's good light. It's not so much the camera as the lighting.
Well, this is one of the weirdest hotel rooms I've ever stayed in.
The lighting. Whatever we're going to talk about, let's do 10 minutes on this.
Yeah.
Well, no, I have like a running note on my laptop that I was like, I'm just going to save all of this for when I get back, and we'll just go through the entire. So I don't know if we want to go through the first day and a half already. But I actually, so what I did, because if I turn my cell phone off, the lighting's terrible. But then I just take my flashlight, turn the flashlight on. This is cell phone lighting over here.
Wait, so why is that? What? Tell us about the hotel room. Why is the hotel room so weird?
There's no drawers. Like there's not one drawer in the entire room. Yeah, like insane. And then the closet space, like where you would hang clothes, like there's all the cleaning stuff and like the ironing boards in there. Like there's no space to like keep clothes. So I have clothes just like everywhere. It's unnerving. Yeah, 4 pillows, but they're square throw pillows. They're not like pillows.
No.
Oh wow,
that's a huge violation.
Oh wow, come on.
That's 2 things. We got more to talk about, but yeah.
Wow, that's tough. All right. Okay, let's start with. Well, yeah, I mean the sacrifices you make. Well,
come on,
the man is doing it all. Let's talk. Let's stick with this first topic here, and we will talk about more players who have changed our opinions of them for the good or bad as the show goes on. But if you think about this season, who's the first person who comes to mind for you that way?
Yeah, I mean, certainly Jordan Davis was the first guy that came to mind. You guys talked about him at the top of the show. I would say that would be the first person where it's like, okay, this is when I go in, what my preconceived notions were coming into the fall. There's what we saw, from week 1 on. To me, like I thought it was just a different level of player. So he would be the first one that comes to mind. After that, I mean, you talked about it the other day, but I think that, and it's worth bringing up again, is Jalyx Hunt. I think that Jalyx did a really good job in terms of, he still has room to grow as a rusher, but I think that just what he was able to do in terms of just checking the box, rush plan, run defense, obviously what he did, dropping back in coverage as well. He competed at a really high level. The athletic traits are all there. So yeah, I thought that what we saw from Jalyx, I thought was really impressive as well.
All right, good stuff there. We'll keep that conversation going in a minute, but let's talk OC search, because I know Deniz has some questions here, but you were kind enough to reach around and pat yourself on the back once the Declan Doyle interview request came through to say, "Hey, I called this after the Bears game." So why are you interested in Declan Doyle?
He coined it.
Yeah, well, look, I didn't say it on the show. I was trying to remember. I was talking yesterday. I was like, I forget if I said it when I was like, we were walking down to the car, or if we talked about it before or after the show. But it was something I just kind of wanted to earmark for this part of the offseason. And shame on me for not bringing it back up. But I think that this is a profile that I think would make a lot of sense. I think obviously he's on the younger side. And that would be the concern, is that he is not someone who is established, who has done this before, and that is going to come in and his words might carry a ton of weight. But that said, I'm really intrigued by what he has been around over the course of his young coaching career. Certainly working with Ben Johnson here this season, but then with Sean Payton before that. Came from the college ranks. He played at Iowa and then coached at Iowa. You talked about like the background there yesterday, but this is a guy that has been around creative run games, creative pass games. Is based on physicality. I think that, to me, like this is someone I would definitely want to talk to. I don't know a ton in terms of like, oh, he's ready for an OC job right now. But that would be someone that he has certainly piqued my interest, certainly in this market right now.
How do you feel about this possibility, Professor?
About Declan Doyle?
Yes.
Well, this brings us back to the thing that EJ was talking about earlier in the week, which I guess Jeff McClain reported, that they were going to offer full autonomy to a Mike McDaniel or a Brian Daboll, but that they are not going to offer that to every candidate, right? So Declan Doyle, who may or may not be 30, Wikipedia doesn't know, famously.
Which, by the way, I do think from the Eagles' perspective, the most intriguing thing about Declan Doyle is that he appears to be unmarried. So the Eagles do not need to worry about where his wife is from.
California.
Okay, there you go. That's good.
Any geographical considerations for his significant other. Yes.
There we go. I think like the number one concern that I would have with the Declan Doyle would be he comes in and he's not really allowed to do his own thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's like, okay, you're gonna install the offense and we're gonna let you call the plays, but we're constantly gonna be in your ear. You know, hey, it's 2nd and 8. Like, make sure you run it to get the 3rd and manageable now. Like, you know, like because we know Nick does say things like that during the game to the OC. So like we've seen that on Mic'd Up and things like that. So if that's how it's gonna be, then that's my concern. Like it's like if you're just gonna let him actually do his thing and you're gonna live with the volatility of having a first time play caller be the OC, I'm okay with that. Like, you know, we can get into it later, but like why I don't want a guy like Matt Nagy, you know, like is because like I'm done with the like not getting Mike McDaniel. Like the next step is like, okay, let's go for upside because this idea of like let's just get competence in the building, that might have been the right thing during the Kellen Moore hire 2 years ago because of the state of the roster then. I don't think the state of the roster is the same now.
I really loved EJ's framing from yesterday, which was, if you want to repeat it, go ahead. But the comparison to the Sirianni search in 2016, where you have your initial wave of preferred candidates, you get rejected by them all, and instead of just fishing at the bottom of the barrel of the obvious candidates, you go ahead and think, okay, these are the guys who are likely to be top candidates next year if all goes well. Let's get ahead of it with those guys. I think that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, because we're down to Mike Kafka and Jim Bob Cooter, like when it comes to people who have called plays before. And like if that's where we are, and you know, Frank can say what he thinks about those guys, but like
I was gonna say, Fran, are you gonna surprise us with any opinion on those guys?
I think my opinion would be shared by most of the guys that are in the studio right there. I wouldn't be too enthused by either one of those.
Did you have a Grizzard opinion based on that Eagles Bucks game,
or a Joe Brady maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I would be more enthused by Joe Brady, number one. I would put Joe Brady and like Declan Doyle. Like, and the thing is that Brady has done it, so I think that he would probably carry a little bit more cachet, over the last what he's done over the last few years. But I would say, Brady, Doyle, then probably Grizzard after that. In terms of how I would kind of stack those guys right now. My big thing, you talk about the Sirianni search in the spring of 2021, the offseason of 2021. I'm just hoping that when it comes to this offensive coordinator hire, building off of Deniz's point, that Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, they learned the lessons that were served to them in the 6 months prior to the Sirianni search, where you bring in Rich Scangarello and you hire, some coaches from the, lower level assistants from college level. And it was like, we're going to take pieces of this. We're going to take pieces of that. We're going to take pieces of this. And it was not one identity. It was this Frankenstein offense where, a lot of the things where you didn't know what was what. And some voices were heard sometimes and then they weren't heard others. And there was just a lot of back and forth. My hope is that leadership with the team kind of, learned lessons from that process and say, all right, even if Declan Doyle, he's a little bit green, but to quote Jeffrey from when they hired Nick, we're hiring him for the offensive coordinator we think he can be. There might be some rough patches early on, but let's let him find his voice if we really have faith that he is going to be one of those guys in this in this space. You can almost kind of let him fail a little bit, and then get back on the bike and keep rolling.
Let me ask Fran this, because yesterday I was going through some of the things that I, would be theoretically excited about with the Declan Doyle offense and how he's going to bring a modern offense with all his 13 personnel and under center. So I
don't know why you think 13 personnel was modern.
I'm joking at this point.
Yeah. Well, some people seem to, because McVay's done it a lot this year. Well, suddenly it's like the new thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like, everything. There's nothing new under the sun, right? That's what a lot of coaches will say. But Fran, I guess since you do such a good job like synthesizing Sean Payton, Ben Johnson, I want to hear what actually would you envision a Declan Doyle offense looking like?
Well, that's tough to say, and that's why I would imagine one of the things that they would want to ask him about is that, all right, well, what would your offense look like if you were to say, like, all right, it's going to be a combination of everything that he's been experiencing, that he's been around. I would say that the creativity and when you look at Joe Brady, like Joe Brady cut his teeth under Sean Payton as well, so there is some crossover between those two. But I think that when you look at Brady or when you look at Declan Doyle, yeah, I would hope that, all right, you're going to get into some of the finding mismatches, attacking, understanding how to attack certain route concepts or certain coverage concepts, just being able to creatively game plan in the pass game, but then also like the physicality, run game aspect, and honestly, like his upbringing, like at Iowa, like I would imagine would feed a lot of that as well. So I do think that he would bring a little bit more of that Iowa background, and then certainly what he learned with Ben Johnson with the run game and starting there, and then everything else building off of that. That would be my guess, but that would be hit for him.
It's an unknown.
This is a bit of a sidetrack here, but along those lines, it does occur to me that a tight ends coach feels like a good breeding ground for an offensive coordinator, because you do have to really deal with every part of the offense, right? And teaching the running game and the passing game. Not that you don't have to do that at the other positions, but I don't know. Feels like an interesting pathway.
I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah, it's like Dan Campbell coming up that way.
Right.
It's popped up here and there. I do think that there's something to that. Yeah.
All right, let's get to the reason that you are not with us today. And first of all, please everybody subscribe to Fran's draft newsletter, because not only do you get some previews for what's to come at the Shrine Game, Shrine Game or Shrine Bowl,
Shrine Bowl,
and the Senior Bowl. But an interesting read today, Fran, because you really went into your process about like why these weeks are important to you. So give us a little bit of a tease of that, and also tell us like where the Shrine Bowl is in all of this. What kind of players are you seeing over the next 3 days?
Yeah, I think that, for me, and that's I've been asked a lot over the years, like, oh, like when you go down there, like what's your approach? Like how do you handle it? People in the industry will ask, or fans will ask, and to me, it's definitely evolved over the course of my career. I mean, Bo, you and I were together for the first time I went to a Shrine Bowl, the first time I went to a Senior Bowl.
Good old days.
And I would say that my approach then is much different than what my approach is now.
Okay.
But it's not all that dissimilar from, when we cover like a training camp practice. Obviously, it's a little bit different because, when I'm there, there's more like schematic and like big picture things that I'm trying to take away. Depth chart is a big thing when you're covering those practices, where here it is like hyper focused, and I'm going to come right back and be able to watch the film. So that's why I was like, all right, let me go back and just kind of like say, all right, this is my process, how I approach it. So I covered that in the newsletter today. How do I approach one-on-one drills? How do I approach when I'm watching team drills? What am I doing during warm-ups and individual periods and special teams? So covered a lot of that in the newsletter today. But it was a little bit longer than I thought, but it looks like some people like the longer read. I've gotten a lot of feedback from them.
Absolutely.
So it was a fun one to write. But I also covered like the Brandon Bean, Terry Pagula, and Keon Coleman situation in Buffalo.
Embarrassing. So embarrassing.
It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things. Like, I don't. It's not really Brandon Bean's fault on that one, because Pagula obviously kind of went rogue, and they like literally like inserted himself into a Brandon Bean. Like Brandon Bean was getting ready to answer the question. He was like, "Hey, can I take this for a second?" It's just like, oh, if you're Brandon Bean there, I'm sure that he was crazy.
It makes him look so much worse in every way. One, that he can't answer the question for himself. Two, if it is true, then he did a bad job if he didn't think he was a player worth drafting. And three, he's lying. So, I mean, it's just Mickey Mouse stuff.
It's one of those things, like, because honestly, I think he's probably telling the truth, like would be my guess. Like, I don't think it's like a bold-faced lie, but I think that it comes down to these things where the GM might have the guy ranked as the 34th player, and he said, yeah, like, well, my 27th player is still there, right? Like, so I really like this guy over that, but the coaches feel really strongly. All right, well, all right, hey, we're going to find compromise. Those are the things that happens every single year, around the league. And so that part of it doesn't surprise me, but there's no need to do that, especially when the guy's on your team still.
That's the part that's crazy. Yeah. Like, he's watching that being like, what the hell?
I can't imagine he's back next year. And even if that was the plan, like they might have gone into the offseason like, yeah, we're probably going to trade Keon. All right, well, you just eliminated all of your leverage to like make that kind of a deal.
All right. Before we let you go, the players you're watching this weekend. I think we all agree the Eagles need, some offensive help, some young offensive help. So tell us if there are anybody who strikes you as a Jeff Stoutland type offensive lineman, a day 3 tight end, or a wide receiver with a little bit of juice.
Day 3 tight end is probably the strongest group down here. I think that this tight end class overall this year is pretty strong. And it really depends on what you're looking for. There's like the blockers first. There's combo guys. There's pass catchers first. This class is full of them. So I do think that they'll have their pick here. I think that they would be it would be probably pretty crazy if they did not address the tight end position in this draft, just because I think that the volume will be there, whether that's early, middle, or late. So
my objection would be to day 3. I mean, right now, if Dallas Goedert's gone, there are essentially no tight ends on the team at all.
Well, I am maybe being presumptuous that there might not be a day 1 or day 2 guy at the Shrine Bowl.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, no, yeah. So I don't think so. I mean, there's some love for the Texas tight end Jack Hendries as a potential day 2 guy. I don't quite see him that way, but I think that he's fine with the middle late rounds. But yeah, and then I think from an offensive line standpoint, there are some intriguing players. Probably no one you're talking about day 2. I think you're talking in that like same Cam Williams, range from last year, where it's the round 5, round 6, round 7. But a handful, Jaden Roberts, the guard from Alabama, he was number 4, number 5 on Bruce Feldman's freak list a couple of years ago. This guy, so he's been in the zeitgeist over the last couple of years from a draft standpoint, but really looks fine. I talked to him last night over at Media Availability, and just, when you walked up to him, I mean, he is really well put together. Looks the part, and he's got traits to develop. We know that's that's the archetype typically. We're talking about Stoutland.
All right, last thing, friend. How are you getting to Mobile? Is this storm going to affect you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, honestly, it's the number one topic of conversation. The moment you see somebody, you talk to, whether it's another media member or someone with a team, and you say like, oh, like, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. What's your travel plan? Like, oh, what are you doing? Are you going home? Are you going to Mobile? Like, what's the deal? My plan was to go Monday morning. Now, what's happening is it's raining outside right now, and then it's going to be like this deep freeze, and down here, no one's prepared for any of this. So everybody's panicking. Shelves are empty. What are we going to do? It is supposed to be like a bad ice storm, so it's nothing to stick your nose up to, but they just don't have the infrastructure down here to like handle it. So they're saying like there could be power outages, there could be basically like everybody off the road for 2 days. Like I might be locked in my hotel room tomorrow with my 4 pillows. So we'll see what it looks like. But I'm hoping by Monday morning that I'll be okay. In terms of like being able to get out. Worst case, Senior Bowl practice, the first practice is not until Tuesday after lunch. So I'm like, all right, like even if it gets pushed to late Monday, or even the worst thing, early Tuesday, if it's still bad, it's only a 7-hour drive, 7.5, 8-hour drive.
Oh, okay.
I'll make the drive. So
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I've never done that drive from Dallas to Mobile. So
have you seen any of the classic draft characters? Fake Josh Norris or anybody?
Of course. Well, no, we've had this conversation, Bo.
That's right. I forgot.
But yes, I've definitely seen some of the classic characters. Yes.
All right. Well, tell them we said hi. Thank you so much, Fran. Everybody subscribe to the Fran Duffy NFL Draft newsletter and check out the draft guide on allphly.com. We'll talk to you next week, Fran.
Safe travels, Fran.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Love you. Let's take a break. Come back with more on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Whether your favorite team wins or not, there's always another way to win on the BetParx online casino app. You can check out brand new casino games like Huff and More Puff and Fireblaze Sky Queen, which is a BetParx exclusive. The only app I ever use to play all my favorite casino games right in the palm of my hand. You can play blackjack, roulette, craps, poker, baccarat, not Burt Bacharach, but baccarat, and hot online slots like Cash Eruption, 88 Fortunes, and Cleopatra online slots. EJ loves Breaking Bad. I said, EJ, how about you put a little lettuce on how much you love Breaking Bad, because there's sweet casino games based on your favorite streaming shows like Breaking Bad, Walking Dead, Squid Game, and Peaky Blinders. New users now get up to $1,000 in casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Just go to betparx.com and download the app right now and enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino right at your fingertips. Must be 21 and in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan. For BetParx Gambling Problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
New year, big goals, but no time to cook? Factor can make it easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs so you can eat well without shopping or cooking. Quality, functional ingredients, including lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, and healthy fats. It's a service I've used personally. I can assure you it's great for people with busy lives. My wife is actually going to be out of town for a couple of days here, and Factor's going to come up huge for me in the next few days. They've got great nutrition, which is why 97% of customers say that Factor helped them live a healthier life. Feel the difference no matter your routine. We use them and you should too. Head to factormeals.com/PHLY50 off and use code PHLY50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. The offer is only valid for new Factor customers with the code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchases. But again, make healthier eating easy with Factor.
Back on the PHLY Eagles podcast. We are down to 3, Bo, EJ, and the professor. Professor, I'm going to give it to you. A player or person who has changed your opinion about them the most over the past.
Yeah, you guys already mentioned Cam Jurgens, but I think like if I were to step back and say this Eagles team going forward, what's the biggest difference in perception from after winning the Super Bowl to looking forward now would be the offensive line.
Yeah,
you could call it Jeff Stoutland. You could call it like just the state of the roster there.
Yeah, I mean, I have Landon Dickerson on my list as as a
Landon
down.
Dickerson for sure. And I know this violates the exercise a little bit because like we're going player by player, but like in part because not that many players move the needle that much for me beyond the ones you guys have already talked about. I think that would be the one main thing that I think is very different about the team going forward.
Yes,
is that the perceived quality of the offensive line went from being top 5 for sure, maybe the best, to is it going to be average? Is it going to be average next year?
Can they get to the back end of the top 10?
We don't know if Lane Johnson is going to be on the team. If he is, we don't know how good he's going to be. He didn't have that great a year this year. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't Lane Johnson level. Jordan Mailata had probably his worst season since, the first couple that he started. Tyler Steen's just a guy, right? Like it's like Landon Dickerson had a not very good year. Like Cam Jurgens looks like he literally can't move.
Yeah.
Why should I think that he's going to be able to move next year?
I am probably going to just bring it up for the 100th time, and I will probably keep doing it all offseason. But I still point to last year's draft.
Right.
The first 3 rounds, it seemed very obvious to me that the Howie Roseman thing would be to draft Lane Johnson's successor now. And I know it's tough. You got the 32nd pick.
Right.
And probably you wouldn't have gotten Josh Simmons if you had made that trade up because Kansas City would have taken him anyway. But I'm sorry. I think Jahad Cam was a really exciting young player. He couldn't get on the field in the playoffs. It's fine.
Yeah, if you
and the defense was fine. And so him and then Makuba, and I like Makuba too, but guess what? Like
Marcus Epps was better than he was.
He was probably better than he was. And by the board, he was an off consensus pick ahead of the guys at Jonas Sanker and Xavier Watts, who by the way was available with the Eagles' original 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
If that pick had been, even if that 2nd round pick had been Harold Fannin or something like that, that doesn't change your opinion of the offensive line, but it changes your opinion of the upside on offense. I really think that they messed up to some degree. You can't pick who's on the board, but I think coming out of that draft without a first 3 rounds offensive player makes us really look at this offense like it needs a lot of help.
Yeah, just to remind people, the young guys waiting in the wings right now who are on the roster are guys who were drafted much later, right? Cameron Williams, Drew Kendall, Miles Hinton. You got Willie Lampkin, right? He's waiting, but that's kind of it. You just don't have young people waiting as backups. You've got Brett Toth, Matt Pryor, Fred Johnson. They're all backup level players who are all free agents, by the way. You don't even know if they're going to be back. So yeah, I mean, it is not promising at all. And that's why it's very important what happens in the draft and free agency this year. You have to address it. I'm very curious about what happens with Cam Jurgens. Is he just definitely going to be the center next year? If he plays again, like he played this year, it's a problem. It's very rare for the center to be so bad that he's a problem. And Cam Jurgens was a problem this year. That's how bad he was. And don't tell me about him making the Pro Bowl. That was just ridiculous. you know, like it's rare that the center is a problem. Like on most teams, the center is like whatever. He's not adding value. Not only did Cam Jurgens not add value, he was the sole reason that like 5 to 6 plays a game didn't work. Like that, you can't have your center play at that level. Like it's just not acceptable. So.
Yeah, no, I've said before, I feel like this is a year where you need another Landon Dickerson type draft pick where it's like, we drafted this guy, we think he can start. We don't know where it's going to be, but he could end up starting double-digit games.
That is a good thing, is they could draft any offensive lineman and find a spot for him.
It doesn't have to be a specific position. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
All right, I'll keep this going. This is not a fun one. It's not a nice thing to say, but I mean, I think heading into the offseason last year, we thought that Keely Ringo was ready to fight for a starting spot and ascend and at least
hanging out with EJ too.
Hold his water.
I was on Keely Ringo.
I don't think everybody thought that,
and I
don't think everybody here thought that. I mean, I know I didn't think that.
Maybe not, but even you weren't expecting it to be quite this bad, and so. I mean, he enters year 4, and he's a very good special teams player, but that's all he is. So we don't need to go further into burying the guy.
Yeah. I'll do a quick one.
Yep.
Nakobe Dean.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I remember during training camp, he was voted as one of the, shout out to our friend Jimmy Kemsky, does stock up, stock down. And Nakobe was stock down for the sheer nature. Everyone thought he was going to get Wally pipped. And you just mentioned it. Like Nakobe played over Jihad Campbell deservedly in the playoffs and set himself up to have a free agency, a good opportunity in free agency here.
Yeah, when Bo mentioned Jihad Campbell, I was going to say, like, if you forced me to say a player, because I didn't say a player, I would have also said Nakobe Dean.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, and it's in this bittersweet way where it's like it's not obvious that it's a good thing.
Right.
Like it's like, are you really keeping Nakobe Dean? Because then what happens to your first round pick? Right. So
yeah. I mean, I will tell you the last guy who I have as positive, Moro Ojomo. It's not a hugely significant, but he overperformed, I think, what reasonable expectations were for him. Not quite to the Milton Williams level, but he had a very good season and capitalized on the opportunity.
His production was better than Milton. Just got to put that out there.
I don't know if you guys saw there was a stat that, and I know you don't believe in pressure, Bo, but like obviously this is like correlated with things you do believe in. The 4 teams that got the most pressure out of their interior defensive linemen this season are the 4 teams that are still playing.
Interesting.
Which, you know, like Milton Williams is one of the keys to that, by the way, at New England. So I did not check that. Yeah, I didn't check that. I just saw like the Next Gen Stats tweet or whatever it was. Yeah.
I'm not saying Milton Williams is a bad player. I'm just stating the fact that Moro Ojomo had more sacks than him this year.
You missed time. Anybody else on your list, Professor?
In terms of players who move,
I'll give you the rest of mine if we want to go through it. But
I think for me, more than players who move the needle, it's like what's the future? And I know I keep on like dodging the exercise, so I apologize for this. I guess no one.
Classic Professor.
I mean, if I had to give you an answer, it would be AJ Brown because he went from being like the best player on the team to being like might not even be on the team, hates the team, like was miserable.
The year of AJ Brown is going to be a 1,500-yard season.
Yeah, I think that's the obvious answer is AJ Brown, and maybe like it's almost not worth talking about anymore, which is why I totally understand why he hasn't been mentioned yet. But I guess that would be the next guy.
Anybody else for you, or are you going to just give you my last 5?
I had Brandon Graham.
Okay, good one.
Went from
thought he was retired,
to coming back, playing at a really high level at a new position, and you know, honestly, I think he would provide value going into next season as well.
Yeah, so, that's a good one. Jalen Carter, just a minor decrease in how I feel about him. I think we thought like a monster season was coming. Maybe it was injury related, but that didn't quite materialize.
Sure.
Nolan Smith, I think, had a down year given what our expectations were, the injury. And then he was so good at the end of last season. He didn't quite take a next level. And then 3 lower level players for you. Just Ty Robinson. The idea being this guy's going to be ready to play.
Yeah, really disappointing.
Couldn't contribute. And that
not even
that
active.
Is essentially a 3rd round pick. Like that's a bad job. Will Shipley. The idea that he was going to be like the actual backup running back and maybe a real factor in the passing game didn't materialize, and Tank Bigsby overtook him. And then staying in that room, obviously, the final one, A.J. Dillon. I mean, going from this guy's going to fight for a roster spot to all of a sudden he is the emblem for the hubris in the organization and kind of responsible for a bad season. I think that was not what we expected.
And I will take another victory lap here and just note that neither of you, and correctly so, said Saquon Barkley. Not because Saquon Barkley didn't have a dramatically worse season statistically than he did last year, but because Saquon Barkley wasn't the reason last year either. So I'm glad that you guys recognize that.
All right.
As you should.
With that reach around to pat himself on the back, we will send you to our final ad break. Back with more on the other side, talking some thoughts on the offensive coordinator search.
Let's talk about Rothman. Whether it's a sore knee, stiff shoulder, or nagging back pain, Rothman Orthopedics is here to help you get you back to the life you love. Their team of specialists treats all kinds of orthopedic issues, from everyday strains to long-term joint pain, with care that's efficient, effective, and close to home. Rothman proudly serves dozens of communities across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Florida, with 30-plus convenient offices, urgent cares, and walk-in centers. Patients will find the full spectrum of orthopedic care at Rothman Orthopedics. From diagnosis to discharge, they provide their patients with every service and procedure necessary, such as x-rays, orthotics, and bracing, MRIs, physical therapy, and more. Don't let pain keep you sidelined this winter. Schedule an appointment today at rothmanortho.com/PHLY. Once again, that's rothmanortho.com/PHLY. Rothman Orthopedics, your mobility, our mission. Do you really want Jordan Davis returning punts? What about Devontae Smith playing nose tackle? Of course not. It's not worth the risk, the time, or the money. You want to keep your stars focused on doing what they do best. The same goes for your business. You don't want your top people buried in operations, the tedious, time-consuming, redundant activities that wear the team down. Togo can help any business looking to reduce operating costs become more efficient or unlock more time for their best people. From customer service and accounting to order management, logistics, admin data entry, and even complex multi-step operational processes, they take it off your plate at a fraction of the cost. Each Togo program includes dedicated staff, custom automations, and US-based process engineers who act as your quarterback, giving you complete control, total transparency, and instant efficiency. At Togo, you call the plays and they execute. Visit harnesstogo.com, scale smarter, work faster, and stay focused on winning.
Back on the PHLY Eagles podcast, there is no one who loves talking over the return from break more than the professor. It's a nice conversational feel. Yeah. We've been hanging. Yeah.
Sorry, this is it's not my job. Like I'm just here. I don't know how the mic works.
We're happy to have you.
Yeah.
Speaking of happy to have someone, we're happy to have Julia at PHLY. Happy birthday, Julia! Give it up in the chat for the great.
I feel bad now. I saw her and I didn't know it was her birthday.
Bad job by you.
I mean, how am I supposed to know that it's her birthday?
I mean, just pick it up,
okay.
pick up on
it's
the vibe.
You don't need to feel bad about it. It's fine.
All right.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Julia. A lot of appreciation for Julia on this. I mean, I'll speak for myself. I have a lot of appreciation for Julia. Yeah.
OJ.
Every Julia in my life is a very big addition to my life.
Who is the third ranked Julia in your life?
That's a good question. Let's see. Sometimes when if I'm texting Julia, our Julia a lot, she will usurp my Julia in my text.
Okay.
In my text order here, which can be a problem. Honestly, I really only have the two Julias.
Okay. Okay.
And they're both great. Great people.
Have you ever messed that up? Have you ever sent a text to your Julia accidentally to our Julia?
Yes.
Nice.
I mean, it's nothing major. Yeah.
Lindsay's cracking up over there. I'm not getting in anything.
I don't want to know.
That's an honest question. Get your mind out of the gutter, Lindsay.
Have you ever texted the wrong person or like the person you were talking about? Texted them?
Oh, I have. That's happened to me before. It's not great.
I feel like at some point, yes, but I am terrified of that. Yes.
We had a job candidate
Oh no.
at my university in Turkey. And we emailed all of the people who applied for the job who didn't make the first cut, who didn't get an interview. Just to say, thank you for your application. Unfortunately, And one of them hit reply. They must have thought they hit forward to a friend. And they said, wow, if I couldn't even get an interview from here, where am I going to get an interview?
That's pretty good.
And then there was like a discussion of what to do. Like, and I was like, obviously we're going to ignore it. It must feel terrible to notice.
You're going to like.
And other people were like, some of my colleagues were like, we should hit reply and be like, nowhere. You're not going to get an interview from anywhere.
That's mean spirited.
Yeah, no, I understand. But they had their feelings hurt by his reaction. So yeah.
That's very funny.
There it is.
All right. What do you want to get off your chest about the offensive coordinator search?
Well, when I saw Matt Nagy, like when I see some of these uninspired kind of retread candidates, the first thing I think is like, look, Kevin Petullo was obviously not good, right? And he was below competence level. But I think for some fans, like how bad he was is dictating the optimal amount of like risk to be taken with this hire. And you guys have covered this to some degree. I just want to like mention that I agree with you that looking forward, like with a declining / changing offensive roster, there's a very good chance that the offensive staff will have to actually add value, right? That like competence won't just be enough. And people say, well, Shane Steichen and Kellen Moore weren't inspired, but like they were good enough. Like, yeah, like 2022, remember, the offense was the strength of the team. Almost won the Super Bowl. But it really wasn't like, it's not like Shane Steichen was a very good play caller in terms of sequencing, game feel, all of those things. But it wasn't the kind of thing where like he had to elevate like a roster that wasn't good. Like it's like the offensive line was awesome. AJ Brown, like, you know, like an excited AJ Brown who was happy to be here, like added this dimension that Shane Steichen knew how to use. That was great. 2024, Kellen Moore, we spent the whole season criticizing the tendencies of the offense, like in an unsustainably explosive run game that came from the perfect marriage of an awesome offensive line and a running back that can make the last guy miss at an elite level, which is what Saquon is, right? Like made it so that the play calling didn't have to be incredible. And maybe Kellen Moore wasn't even allowed to be himself or whatever. So I'm just fearful that just get a competent guy in here, like don't take risks with the young guys camp, is overestimating how good the offensive roster is. Like they're still using their 2024 roster perception to think about the 2026 roster perception. I'm looking at the depth chart right now.
I agree with you.
It's not obvious to me that this offensive roster isn't just going to be average next year.
Well, I think when we first started talking about it, there were a lot of ideal candidates on the board. We are past that point now.
Yeah.
So I agree.
I agree.
Like
I was in here last week saying Mike McDaniel. Yeah, I mean, for sure. Now, when it comes to Declan Doyle, it's interesting to see Fran positive about him. Anecdotally, for me, the two offenses that played the Eagles this year, because those are the games that I like chart every play and I like know exactly how they sequenced everything, that I was most impressed with in terms of their approach to playing a very good Eagles defense.
Well, can I guess?
Go ahead.
It's going to be the Chicago Bears.
Yes.
And it's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
No, it's going to be the Denver Broncos. It's
Denver Broncos.
I
mean, I've talked about those Denver Broncos plays like all season, like the way they used, like Ingram to like beat it, like those two games. I was very impressed, and I talked about it after the game on the show, like with their sequencing, their personnel usage, the going back and forth between run and pass out of the same looks. So Sean Payton and Ben Johnson were both masterful at that, and they're kind of known to be. A guy that's worked with them is a positive, right?
There's no guarantee you're really getting that, but if you're going to play that game, those are the two people you want to try to borrow from. Yeah,
absolutely. Now, negatives, like obviously the nepotism thing. Who his dad is like an abusive racist, right? Like that's a negative. That's like not a good thing. Like it's like, okay, now is he like potentially in that way? I need to know that. Like I need to ask that in the interview. It's like, like I don't know how to ask that exactly about a guy's dad, but like you have to ask. And then you were talking to Hogue yesterday, like, and he was like, well, Doyle didn't even install the run game in meetings, which apparently is something that every offense coordinator does. So it's like, that's a little bit of a, it opens your eye. That might say more about Ben Johnson wanting to control things than it does about whether he thinks Doyle is qualified to do that, right? But like, if he hasn't even done that, it's like, that's one more thing that's going to make Nick think, okay, we brought in this 29 and or 30-year-old guy. I'm going to need to like guide him through a bunch of stuff. Right. And so that's kind of my thoughts on that. So there you go. What do you guys think? I mean, like if you had to say right now, like, would you rather have Declan Doyle or Joe Brady? Like
question.
Like those are the two guys.
Joe Brady,
do you love your dad? Yes or no?
Do you love your dad? There's only one right answer.
Yeah.
If Joe Brady and Declan Doyle are the options, I would choose Joe Brady. It's just it's a safer, more proven candidate. But I do think that, you know, to the points you're making on like the positives with Declan Doyle, I do think that it's a projection, but I'd feel good about what the scheme would look like, specifically the scheme.
I am open to the upside with Declan Doyle. I think one thing the Eagles have to think about in terms of the downside to it is something that I will tell you in overtime. I don't think there's any reasonable expectation that you can think that Declan Doyle, who has never called plays before, is going to come in and hit the ground running. Right? This is a play caller who's going to take some seasoning and is going to take some reps. And I don't know that this coaching staff has a lot of time to wait for that.
Is it the coaching staff or is it the organization?
It's the team. Well, it's the coaching staff. The coaching staff has to maximize for that. Okay. And the roster is not built for, okay, who's going to be the best guy 2 or 3 years from now? They need the guy who's going to be the best now, given the age cycle they're in. So, you know, can you tell me that Declan Doyle is going to be ready for prime time come the playoffs? Maybe, but you know, you don't have that much time to be patient.
Yeah, well, 2 things. First, your flashlight's on your phone. I don't know if you know that.
No, thank you.
I don't know how I noticed it, but you're gonna do the Fran?
Trying to do the Fran, yeah. Not so good.
I don't think you go from under. I think it should be more.
Yeah.
We've got good lighting in here. If Joe Brady is the other option, then I agree with you. But at some point, you are getting to the diminishing returns.
I think that's right.
Like, when I would rather
have Declan Doyle than Cooter and Nagy and Kafka. Yeah. Grizzard, I don't know.
You're not sure.
I don't know that I have a
coaches seem to respect Grizzard. That's why I guessed it for you. I was like, well, you do the charting.
And he had a lot of injuries. You can blame the injuries for why they weren't good this year in Tampa. Yeah. The thing you're saying about the organization not having time and the stress that's going to be on the OC to do well right away brings us back to the thing we were saying earlier about we're looking in the mirror right now saying, why don't they like us?
Do you feel hurt a little bit?
Of course. Everything about this week sucks. Okay. It's like one of my students was asking, Professor, are you over your morning? And I was like, are you kidding? Like last week I was able to watch the film. I was able to do all this active stuff to figure out what went wrong. And this week there's like nothing to do. We're waiting for all these like, you know, coaches who I'm not that excited about, like rejecting. I think if you list like, and you guys have been through these, but like, I'm curious how you think these rank, right? Like there are kind of 3 things in my opinion that are the main things that I would imagine a lot of candidates have issues with. One is there's the power dynamic, right? You're not really going to be in charge of the offense. There's Nick, who's likely to get involved. There's the bigger picture that this is not a coach-centric organization. Like not even Nick has that much power, right? Yeah. And then you're going to be under him. Like, so it's like, you know, Jeffrey and Howie are overlooking things in a closer manner than they would be at other places. It was interesting that when you guys had Mina Kimes this week, she focused so much on the running game. Like I was curious, and I know that's just kind of her thing. Like she cares a lot about the running game, but like she's like, you know, like I really want a guy with a creative running game. But like, how much of the issue of the attractiveness is the Jeff Stoutland factor? Yeah. The fact that you're not even going to be able to control the running game necessarily. Like Mike McDaniel is like the running game guy. Yeah. He's probably on the phone being like, well, Stoutland's still going to be there, right? Like, am I even going to be able to do my thing, right? So that's number 1. Number 2 is the worse than perceived roster stuff that we've already been through. And worse than perceived matters because you're going to get blamed if the team's not good. Like, it's not like you're going to come in here and be like Mike McDaniel's going to LA, right? Maybe. And he's coaching a team that hasn't won the division since 2009. Like with Norv Turner. That's the last time the Chargers won the division. They haven't won a playoff game in 8 years. The quarterback's never won a playoff game at all. They don't even really have fans. Like it's like you know, like it's like there's only upside. It's like if he does something good, he's going to be the hero. There's almost no scenario in which like his house is going to get egged, right? Yeah. Like it's like that's not a thing. And so I guess and that's the third thing is like the high expectations, the high passion level. So you guys have talked about this to some degree, but like these things all kind of complement each other, right? They're not mutually exclusive. It's like the fact that there's high passion and people think the roster is still really good. And so it's the OC, like it was the OC's fault last year that the team wasn't good. So you better not also be a bum.
Right.
Is not exactly an appealing thing to walk into, no?
I think that's true. I don't think this is not a question about this is not an answer to what matters to those candidates. But I will say, a year removed, I don't think that the offensive coordinator will be viewed as the reason if the team is not good this year.
Oh, the shield thing of at least you're following the bad guy kind of thing?
Well, and just last year there was so much continuity.
Exactly.
I see. Zeroed in on the offense.
Like if AJ is gone, people might just say, well, what can he do? There's no...
And no matter what it is, I think it points to Nick.
Yeah.
If things go badly this year.
That's what you're
even if he's been granted autonomy to Devin Doyle. The offense is bad enough, it's going to go to Nick.
But you're also going to get fired if you're the OC.
Well, yeah,
that's
probably so. Probably so.
Right? Because in what scenario is the team going to be bad enough that Nick gets fired, but the offense is good enough that you get promoted or something? That's not going to happen.
So
there's like a scenario where like they're exactly how we expect them to be, but that is short of a championship, where Nick could get theoretically Dirk Cuttered, right? You know, there is probably a world where that happens. There's a third door where it's fire the head coach, keep the OC. I'm not saying it's likely. We're talking like, you know, maybe 7% chance.
Just
but
the history of the way they like to hire coaches.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a Declan Doyle, like really young guy.
That's the only way you can.
They're not gonna feel enough like they discovered a guy the way they discovered Andy and they discovered Nick. You know what I mean? Like.
So is the question which is the biggest deal?
I guess which of those, like, do you think all three of those are really contributing, or do you think some of them are more myth than reality?
I think they're all contributing to some degree.
I think it depends on who you ask for each one, I think. But I think they all are a factor right now.
I think the fan pressure thing is probably the one that is overblown the most in terms of why people might not take this job.
Like the house getting egged type stuff?
Yes. I think it has much more to do with the building and the roster, but the people that you'd have to work with every day.
Yeah, I agree.
And everybody knows enough people that have
well, I mean,
here,
just
that
think
they're
about
going to be able
just
to
think
know
about
that.
the coaching circles are small, so no matter who it is, Kellen Moore is a phone call away. Brian Johnson is a phone call away.
Yeah.
Kevin Patullo is a phone call away. Sean Desai is a phone call away.
And by the way, like
Doug Peterson is a phone call away.
The coaches and I'm not saying that there's tons of coaches, but the coaches that have had negative interactions with people in the Eagles building, even without working in the building.
Right.
You know, like, oh yeah, Nick Sirianni cursed me out like after the game, or or just like, you know, like these, like you said, these circles are only so big.
A very good point.
So
yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, Nick told me to eat his ass after the game when they lost. Like
we are both.
Yeah, I can't wait to go work for that guy.
Zach Ertz is a phone call away.
Zach Ertz is a phone call away. I bled for that guy, man. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
The upside is Kellen Moore and Shane Steichen both got head coaching jobs, right?
The big picture Howie Roseman conversation, right? Howie is probably the best general manager in football. And he is wired in a way that he cares about every little thing and is maniacal about it, and that is part of what makes him great. Could he be nicer and still as maniacal about those things? Probably.
No.
But that's not the way he operates.
No.
And so, I don't know. People come and go. They tell stories. Like, I don't know. That's a real thing.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Where do you
want to go to work every day? Not everybody has a choice, and of course, you know, probably the salary is the most important thing for these people. But you know, all things being equal, do you want to go to a place where you have a slightly better chance to win, but your life is going to be a little bit less fun?
I don't know enough about salary variance.
Yeah,
nobody does. Yeah, that remains, which is ridiculous.
Remains ridiculous.
Like, how do we not
head
know
coach
that?
salaries are not even just. Head coach salaries are not publicly available.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Unless they really want to tell you, like John Harbaugh. Yeah.
Can I just play like devil's advocate just for a second?
Please. Yeah.
I do think that a lot of what we're talking about, I just think this is an important thing to bring up in the discussion about like the Eagles organization being a spectacle to some degree. It's that way because they've been successful. I think that is like the only thing, just in the interest of fairness, I want to put out there is that why are league circles talking about how bizarre some elements of the Eagles building are? Because of the fact that they win so much.
That's true. And because they've won so much, Howie has been there for a long time. So there's a lot of people who have worked in the building.
Got a lot of stories.
Out of the building, right? Like, Monty Ossenfort is probably running a terrible organization, but he's only been there for 2 years, 3 years. Like, nobody's trying to come to Arizona and hot shot to a head coaching
the
job,
collection of disgruntled former
Yeah.
colleagues is never grows, right? When you leave that fast.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear these different perspectives from people who are connected in the league about how appealing this job is, right? Like Mina Kimes told you guys, like, I think it's like you can leapfrog to
Greg
head
Olson
coach. Greg Olson spent like an entire podcast with Kelsey's talking about what an appealing job it is. And then Diana Rossini on WIP, she's asked, "Is this an appealing job?" And she just flat out said, "No."
Yeah,
like it is not appealing.
Yeah.
Why would you want this job?
And another one where it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
And those
are all people who
we
know
haven't
people.
talked much about the Jalen part of it. I don't know how that plays into it, and that's another one where you're gonna call the people who have worked with him. I hear from people that Jalen's great to work with.
Right.
I hear from other people who don't think that. So I don't know.
I think this is all, we've talked about a lot of themes today that like back this up, which is that like a media literacy lesson here. Like none of these things are absolutes, like none of these things are, well, these people, or, this reporter said that Jalen is difficult to work with. So therefore it is unimpeachable that he is difficult to work with, or vice versa. Like it really is. That's why when you asked the question, I said, I think it depends on who you ask. Some people will say, I don't want to work there because of Nick. Some people will say, I don't want to work there because of the front office structure. Some people will say, I don't want to work with Jalen. I think all of them are real. Not to say that they are all correct, but again, it's perspective,
Yeah, with a guy like Declan Doyle, I think Jalen becomes a bigger question, right? Like, because if you bring in a guy who's basically his age, if he already has a reputation of like saying, no, I want the offense to look the way I want it to look, right? Like, how is it going to be with a guy his age?
Backbone going to be like?
That is where it's like, how much do you trust the Eagles' ability to answer those questions before they make the hire?
Mm-hmm.
Do you trust them to have a good feel for that or not?
Right. No, that's right.
I also do think we're probably making a little bit too much of it, because really the only thing this all comes down to Dable preferring the Titans. Like the McDaniel thing, you get.
Oh, like, you're saying the attractiveness not being high.
Yeah. Like presumably they would have offered the job to Dable. That's the only one where you're like, they didn't get their man, and I don't really understand why. The McDaniel thing, I understand taking LA. Even if it's not the quarterback, there's more security there. And he still wants a head coaching job, right?
Yeah.
Everything else is like, I don't know. Did they really whiff on anybody?
The Dayball one is the one.
That's the one.
I see people who are.
I think McDaniel's real too. I don't think it's obvious that you would prefer the Chargers.
I understand it.
I get it. Yeah.
But the fact that you get it speaks to what we're talking about. Like, you get it because of these things.
Yeah, but I think even objectively, like it's a rational take for someone to think that they would rather work for Justin Herbert, they would rather work for Jim Harbaugh because he has more security, and it's less of a like toxic building.
But that's the point.
Yeah, no, I know. I understand that.
I'm not saying he's being irrational. I'm saying that like the reason you think it's rational is because these things are real.
Outside of expectations. I don't think anybody expected Brian Dable would work in Tennessee.
I see what you're saying. I think it's the passing of time that's doing it to some degree. Now, it might be worth remembering, Kellen Moore got hired on, I think it was the Saturday before the championship games. So we're right at the point now.
Yes.
And it was the same round that they lost in the playoffs. So I guess it was like, a day later because it was a Monday night game. But like, it was basically around now. But that year there was that whole delay with the presser and there was another snowstorm. It's back to the snowstorm. No one's going to be able to travel. Now they're going to say like, well, because of the snow, we weren't able to get guys in. I think the fact that this is like not a head coach centric place, but the head coach is in place, is making a lot of fans say things like, well, this is the problem with having Nick here, is like you can't attract a guy. And for me, that's just like, look, if you enjoyed the Super Bowls, like if you enjoyed being in 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls and you enjoyed winning one of them, like you can't turn around now and be like, I don't like the way the team is run. Like it's like it's the team's decision to not have the head coach be the main guy. It's the team's decision to be run a certain way, and it's worked pretty well.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 head coaches are guys whose personalities are not, I'm going to come in and take over the building. That was by design. Both of them literally won the Super Bowl. Like you can't then turn around and be like, because you didn't get your favorite OC for this reason, like, oh, this is the problem with Nick, like fire Nick. Like to me, that part is not, that part's going too far with this.
I think that's
we
fair.
live with this now because like this is the way the team is run, and it's brought a lot of success, and it's not like the success has stopped. Like the worst years we've had in the last like 4 years are 11-win wild card. You know, like the thing that these coaches who are getting hired now are going to be striving for is like the worst season we ever have around here. Like that's just like it's something to remember.
I think that's fair, but I also think that the way that they're going to evaluate it internally is how are they going to give themselves the best chance to succeed moving forward. And I also think it's fair to say that it seems like it's a harder needle to thread between Nick and Jalen than it used to be in terms of figuring out how to navigate a productive offense with Nick's preferences and Jalen's preferences.
But do you think the next head coaching hire, let's fast forward, let's say this year's a disaster and they blow it all up.
Yeah.
Do you really think they're going to be looking for the next Andy Reid? Or are they going to be looking for the next Nick Sirianni? Or let's say, you know what I mean by that.
What you're saying.
Like in terms of how much power the guy's going to demand coming in the door.
I think it's a good question, and I probably don't have the answer. I mean, they probably don't have the answer.
I think they're looking for the next Sirianni. I think they're.
I would say that they're going to be looking for the next Sirianni, but as an offensive play caller. I don't think that they would. I think they would say we
Which
can't.
Is what they thought Sirianni was.
Right. Yeah, but I think, when you think about the next Sirianni, I think that it would be with the condition we need someone that we feel strongly about remaining as a play caller, especially if you're moving forward with Jalen.
Yeah. That's presuming that Howie's still here. I would say Jeffrey probably feels like coaching staffs are more fungible than, the difference between a great head coach and an average head coach is less impactful than the difference between a great GM and an average GM.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have an expression in Turkish. I haven't done a Turkish expression in a while. We have an expression in Turkish that's if you burn your tongue from milk, then when you blow on yogurt before you eat it. And what that means doesn't translate well at all. What it means is like if you burned your tongue from actual hot milk, like you're so careful eating everything that even when you're eating yogurt, you blow on it just to make sure you don't.
Yeah.
And I think for Jeffrey Lurie, like Chip Kelly is the ultimate example of that. Like it's like he's never gonna let a coach take over his team again.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
After Chip Kelly. You don't think so?
I don't agree with that. No, I think he would love the Andy Reid model if he had that guy. It's harder to find.
He just like understands they're very rare.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
All right. Good big picture conversation on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Thanks everybody for watching. We're gonna be home on Monday, giving you a little snowed in remote episode of the PHLY Eagles show.
People in the chat asking about the milk. It's common to drink warm or hot milk in Turkey. So that's like why the expression makes more sense. Old guys especially will just go to the cafe and drink hot milk.
Hot milk.
They'll just order hot milk. Yeah.
Oh, super.
Respect it.
I mean, yeah, sure. I respect that. I respect most things.
It's like hot chocolate without the chocolate. You're just drinking hot milk. Yeah.
Super chats. I can't read that one. But the question is, pitch. EJ Appreciation Day.
Oh, I was like, why can't you read it?
Cake Gate went too far. I couldn't read the name.
Oh, Tim?
I feel like every day is EJ Appreciation Day.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Love this guy.
Now I'm uncomfortable.
Corey Cito. EJ, from which Turkish club did Tammy join Villa?
Shout out to Corey.
Turkish pronunciation. You did well yesterday.
Fenerbahce?
Fenerbahce.
Oh, man, I did okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if I can go 2 for 2. Tammy Abraham played most recently for Beşiktaş.
It's the S at the end is also a sh. Beşiktaş.
Beşiktaş.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Beşiktaş.
Villa beat Fenerbahce yesterday.
Good. That's our. I'm a Galatasaray fan.
It does seem like the Turkish league's like atmospheres are elite, like some of the best.
More elite than the play on the field, for
you guys
sure.
have some giants there. Yeah.
When is that playoff game for the World Cup?
March 21st and 28th, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of close. Zach Trauma. Why hasn't anyone discussed Doug Peterson as an OC candidate? I remember some discussion of bringing him in as a consultant midseason. That would be the ultimate, like Doug coming in just to mess things up, just to muddy the waters, just to get everybody to. Oh, that would be a lot of fun. I can't. That doesn't seem.
There seems to be.
Zero
chance.
The first incomplete pass, the crowd would be chanting Doug as head coach, like fire Nick, 100%. Why do you think Doug is so much more beloved than Nick? Given
I think it's because of the personalities. I mean, obviously Nick has won way more games. They've both won a Super Bowl. Nick's been to another one. He's never missed the playoffs. He famously has the best win percentage of any head coach alive, which is a funny thing to just casually say, but it's true. Yeah, it's the personality, right? You never said they're not talking anymore. Not so much anymore. I mean, it makes a difference.
Joe Rockhead. First, happy birthday, Julia. Julia. B, any chance Nakobe Dean is going to Dallas now that Christian Parker is there?
It's
a chance, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be more worried about Reed Blankenship in that scenario.
Yeah.
Someone who's very familiar with.
That's a good one.
With Christian Parker in the secondary. I've said before on the show that guys in that secondary say that Reed is really key to getting them the calls that they need and directing traffic on the back end there. So
if you're the Eagles and you know right now that you can only sign one of the following two players, and it's going to be at market value, Jalen Phillips. Reed Blankenship.
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I just ever so slightly go Reed, just because of Jalen Phillips' injury history.
Yeah, I do fear that whoever signs Jalen Phillips is not going to get the bang for their buck,
get their value,
unless you can convince him to do a 1 year, pay a premium for a 1 year prove it type deal.
Yeah,
but yeah.
They went into last year thinking having Nolan Smith and Jalyx Hunt was good enough. Found out middle of the year it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man.
If you don't bring back Jalen Phillips, are you addressing that high in the draft?
You probably can't. I mean, you have so many holes on offense.
That's the thing.
Prioritize.
That's the thing.
Man, that is difficult. That's really difficult.
I also think the idea of Reed to the Cowboys probably puts the kibosh on exciting Mikes.
I don't know about that.
I feel like Reed could go somewhere else, but Dallas.
That would be an unbelievable, talk about polarizing the fan base if you were to do that.
Yeah.
You can't have a cross, a Dallas player and an Eagles player on the same podcast, every week.
I mean, Pat Surtain and Terrion Arnold. I know they're not division rivals.
Yeah, that's the difference. I think they could do it on different teams for sure.
I don't know. I feel like
if you just go some random team.
There's probably an example of a player doing a podcast with a division rival out there that we're not familiar with. There are a lot of player podcasts out there. So I don't know. I would hope not.
Me too.
What do you think Vic would say? Vic would probably go with Reed, right? He'd want Reed just because he runs the show.
He's so edge rusher agnostic. Every time you ask him about edge rushers or sacks, he's just like, "Man, you guys care about that stuff."
Breaking news from my buddy Mike.
Oh, you scared me. You really scared me.
This is a big one. Just saw Zach Bond at my Home Depot.
Oh,
Zach Bond or the other Zach?
No,
Zach. Are you being?
No, Zach Bond.
Okay, I wasn't. I was thinking
Zach Bond. Zach Bond. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, Mike listens to every show. Love Mike. Great guy. Fortunately, he spelled Zach with an H.
Okay. I mean,
might have been autocorrect.
Probably not writing Zach Bond as much as we are.
Also, just could be.
Just saying, I need him to know when he listens to
air this out on
we drive a Honda Accord, and
good car.
Well, no. So here's the thing. Everett and I always watch the Eagles' little, social media videos from the locker room. Mm-hmm. And in one of those, Zach Bond is asked, what would you do if you got, if you just got $1 million or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a very funny question to ask people who have $1 million. But anyway, Like Zach Bond goes, I'm not much of a money guy. I drive a Honda Accord. Mm-hmm. And when he said that, now you might know that he drives something else.
Maybe he has a Honda
I was going to say, okay. I did,
but he does. Yeah,
I was wondering if that's the only car he has.
If I recall, he does drive like a sensible, like economically sound car.
He literally said Honda Accord though. Like I'm sure about this.
Owns two different cars that are both.
Everyone was like running across the house, being funny. Like Zach Bond also has a Honda Accord. You know, like so.
Yeah, I feel like I remember seeing him driving something, and I was like, "Oh, that's like a very responsible, like financially responsible car to drive if you were a millionaire."
Right.
It wasn't a Honda Accord though.
When we get into our car now, everyone says, "I'm not much of a money guy. I drive a Honda Accord." Really? Yeah. Exactly that quote.
Do you think it's maybe I shouldn't talk about players' car choices? What do you think? I'm genuinely asking you.
Should I talk about?
Should I? Is that like sacred?
I feel like everyone used to know because there were more cameras in like the area.
So I'll say it. I won't say the make of the car out of respect, but AJ is like famous for driving a Honda Accord to games, right? Like he's like well known. He's gone viral for AJ's very sensible. He drives a Honda Accord to the games. He drives one of the nicest cars you could ever buy.
Like not to games.
It's at the NovaCare complex every single day.
Oh,
I won't say what car it is out of respect for his privacy,
I think that's right.
He drives and it's a really nice car, and we see it all the time. It's parked up front. He drives a really nice car every day.
What do you think it is about games that makes him choose the other car?
Well, the one time it was snowing, so maybe he doesn't like to drive his very nice car in the snow, which respect, understand. But yeah, I think it maybe is just like, I don't know. I don't want to call him out for like a performative thing, but he probably has a car he likes to drive, you know, as like a beater.
Sure.
And then he has like his nice car that he takes care of. So there's nothing wrong with it. I just think it's funny when people are like, man, he's smart with his money. You know, he doesn't spend money on cars. It's
sure.
No, he's got some nice cars.
All right, good stuff. That'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Eagles podcast. Thank you, Fran, for joining us. Thank you, Mike, for the breaking news. We'll go ahead and say it was autocorrect on the Zach. You know, I feel like the autocorrect is getting worse, just like every other piece of technology. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Professor.
Happy birthday to Julia.
Most of all, EJ, we appreciate you.
It's worse when you do this. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It just makes me uncomfortable. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the chat. I'm fine. Everything's good.
EJ, I've had a lot of fun with you this week.
Are you guys going to be here next Friday?
I hope so.
I don't know when you're traveling to the... Oh, no. There's 2 weeks to the Super Bowl. Never mind. Will there be a hire by next Friday? Like next Friday, are we talking about the new OC? Or are we still...
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Okay.
You think there will be a hire by next Friday?
I do.
I agree. Okay. I thought you said we were still going to be talking about this.
Whether it has been announced or... I don't know.
Heavily rumored
press conference, but yes, I think we will know by next Friday who the Eagles' offensive coordinator is.
Yeah.
And maybe from a losing team this weekend? Perhaps?
Yeah, that one seems unlikely.
That's one of the things to look out for, right?
Shieldhouse.
Yeah, let's say you think Shieldhouse.
Shieldhouse would be the main
Jake
guy.
Peets, Davis Webb, Thomas Brown.
Shieldhouse is the one that I think would make sense. I mean... We were not as,
by the way, the Eagles
bullish on that, but people really wanted him even at the beginning.
Yeah,
people said he would be one of the best candidates.
Based on the reported interview so far, the Eagles have not yet satisfied their Rooney Rule.
They have to interview two.
They have to interview two, right?
And does McDaniel count, or as a
McDaniel
McDaniel counts? Yeah.
No. Does it count as an interview? I mean,
yeah.
That's a good question. I mean, it was a virtual interview, so
okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I would suspect that counts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think they had anybody else.
Yeah, and then the year they hired Brian Johnson, that's when they talked to Shieldhouse. And we didn't find that out until the combine. Anyway.
That was a late one.
That's all we got. Talk to you guys on Monday. Enjoy the weekend. Stay warm. Stay fed. Stay with your power. Stay powered up. I don't know.
Make sure you have good food, not just Cheez-Its.
As always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.